Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Digital Presence Update. I am your host, Joe Wallace. I'm here to talk all about the wonderful land of digital presence. And of course, you all exist in the land of digital presence, whether you know it or not, obviously. And so I think it's very important that we continue to talk about all these wonderful things. Now, as you know, many of the things that we talk about on this wonderful channel, whichever channel that you happen to be looking at this particular point in time, is absolutely uh, one of the many reasons why we keep doing this. And I know that we split our attention everywhere. So if you guys do respond, feel free to let me know in chat how you're feeling, how things are going. I know for a fact that we are all about making sure that you guys do what we do. We talk about things that are relevant to what you're worried about. Now, that being said, I wanted to jump directly into what we're talking about today. Today, we're going to be talking about AI is doing the verification now. So, for those that aren't familiar with what we talk about here on this channel and what Task Solutions is Task Solutions, of course, is a digital presence organic growth company. What we do is we focus on making sure that your business is able to be found. And they do that through very, very many different ways. I won't go into what those ways are now because the content that we talk about specifically goes over the very things that we assist businesses with. Of course, every business is different, right? You're not the same. If you have a business right now and you're a pet groomer, guess what? Your business is not the same as the HVAC person down the street who also owns his business, but guess what? Has very different needs than you do. So it's very important that we remember that. And that's why we do what we do. So I want to start with this. Think about how local search used to work. You search for a business, Google gives you a list, and then you had to figure out which one made sense. Like, right, you check reviews, you check your hours, maybe some location, where the business is, where the services are, right? Do they have a website? You know, photos, maybe. Hey, if they got social media, even better. What's changing is that increasingly the machines are doing some of that verification before it ever gives you the recommendation. And I've talked about this quite a bit before this video, or this particular episode, I should say. But this just reinforces exactly what I've always talked about. Search Engine Land published a piece just yesterday describing this next stage as Local 5.0. AI interprets, this is the article, customer intent, evaluates available evidence, adds context, and then determines which businesses are appropriate to recommend. The verification burden now is moving from the customer to the machine officially. Clip that. And that kind of changes what getting found actually means. Now, I know that for those of you who have followed this podcast, you're like, what's new about that statement? Because I constantly have been talking about this for about a year or more, right? Maybe 2 years now, that you're going to increasingly not be found online unless you actually deal with the problem that is the machines, right? Then they're gatekeeping you, right? So now that we actually have some feedback that basically says, no, this is absolutely what's happening. So uh, it's frustrating. It is frustrating. I ain't gonna lie, because I mean, you should have seen it coming, right? But I know that we are not always on the same page or ready to accept certain truths until you actually see it. So I am glad that we're finally seeing some sort of validation that this is the truth. The problem is that everybody just is, I think, going to be too late to the game when it comes down to it. So let's get back to the subject at hand. I just wanted to point that out. Search engines and AI assistants and all this wonderful guff, right? Local SEO is moving from location to context is the next setup here that I wanted to discuss. The main reason why is because it is one of the more interesting discussions and relevant to local businesses that really are going to impact the heck out of them, right? Uh, because you may be an auto care place that's, pretty relevant, pretty, in terms of like a specific skill set that you guys have. You specialize maybe in a specific thing. Let's just say you're like one of those quick auto care places that only does certain services. You may offer a lot of services, but your main thing you offer and you push out there is like oil changes or AC repair, stuff like that, right? You focus on those things. It's your specialty, if you will. Now, other places may focus on other things. That's not the point, though. What are you being recommended for by AI? That's the question. And you can be recommended for something if you haven't done what you need to do to make sure that that stuff's happening right properly. Like the machines are pulling from your website and all these other places with the information you want it to be pulled from. It can actually make it to where it recommends you for something that you don't specialize in, and it's going to frustrate the heck out of you. So I really think it's important that we look at this. Now, I've got a feel of what I was really going to say, but it is one of the more interesting recent search engine discussions right now that are happening. An article I saw recently. It said on August 7th, the analyses looked at how multiple AI models respond to the same business problem as the amount of context in the prompt increased. The broader finding was that richer business context can materially change the quality and nature of AI recommendations. So, suppose someone asks, right, who is a good web company? That is incredibly broad, right? But now compare it with this, because that's maybe something you put in like Google, right? Or Bing or um, DuckDuckGo or pick your poison, right? Now compare it with this that they might put in like an LLM or something, Who is a good web company for a small local service business that needs WordPress, ongoing updates, local SEO support, and someone who can explain all this technical side stuff without requiring an internal marketing department? And look, it's the same industry, right? But it's a completely different evaluation. So that is why it's important to remember if you're going to be recommended, how is the machine going to know when to recommend you? Because all that context that was just given right there in that last thing, that's a whole lot, right? Do you list those things on your website if you're a web company, right? Are you? And let's talk about more service side stuff. The auto care example I mentioned earlier. Are you mentioning all those services? Like somebody says, like, I got this wrong with my car. I know for a fact, or I think it's this, and I need these services potentially. Well, who does that, right? And the AI is going to not going to go like, well, there's auto care company nearby you. Here, here you go. The AI is going to be like, well, who offers that? And if your competitor is like got this hyper detailed website with all this information about these things that they offer and what they do about all those things, and it doesn't even have to have cost on their website. It just has to have like, the detailed information. The AI is going to recommend that person way before you because it doesn't know exactly what you do. See, it's like it's the same problem that we had with TV shows, just in a different way. And if you're wondering why I say that, that came out of left field for you. Uh, what do you see when you're watching a movie? And I know that's very, very vague. I'm gonna have a point. But what do you see when you watch a movie? You see exactly what the camera is showing you. And maybe it's not always a camera, it's a virtual camera. But let's just say the director is showing you exactly what you need to see. So, okay, sounds perfectly, normal. Here's the problem. Let's say the shot being shown on screen at the time is a landscape shot of a big open plain, grassy, great, right? Beautiful, whatever. The point is that, well, that's what's directly in front of you. You see this nice open plain. What's behind the camera? And I don't mean a person. I mean, what visually is behind the camera now? Is it a plane? Is it a building? Is it a sea? Is it an explosion? Is it is it nothing? Is it space? Is it a cliff? What is it? We don't know. And we can't know. It's impossible to know unless there's like a reflection somewhere right in front of us. The point is that behind us, giant mystery. No idea. And it was never shown to you. So you are left with an assumption, and that's it. That's it. So if you're asking AI and machines, right, which are reasoning things, that you know they can assume as well, but the problem is they won't. Not when it comes to a query. They're not going to waste the energy. So they're just going to assume that you don't do any of that shit. Period. That's the problem. So definitely remember, look, in front of you, camera, know what's there. Behind you, the camera, you have no idea as a viewer. You know, there's no way for you to know. So how the hell do you expect an artificial intelligence to know what the hell you do as a business owner if you don't have that information online somewhere? It's just going to assume that you don't do it. It's going to recommend your competitor. Period. You're done. So that's the problem we're running into right now. It is gatekeeping you, whether you know it or not. And that's something I've been talking about religiously. you know, all these articles are reinforcing what I've been saying for years. Congratulations, right? And I hate seeing it, to be honest with you, because I really feel the internet needs to be open and free and needs no regulation whatsoever. But it's something that we're consistently seeing now. It is. It may not be an official regulation from a government. It is definitely being regulated in some capacity because of our overuse of Google and all its wonderful, friendly things. But we won't go deep into that right now. Just know that that is on my mind as we move forward. Now, so if your website only says we provide innovative digital solutions, right? Like back to the web example, right? You've given the machine almost nothing useful. But if your digital presence clearly explains like industries, business size, service model, geography, expertise, problem solved, like testimonials and case studies, customer experience specifically like the reviews on your website, absolutely. Then an AI system has way more evidence to decide whether you are the right recommendation. So the question isn't just does AI know who you are? It's does AI know when you are the right answer? That's a pretty big difference. Clip that. So you need to be known for something, is the point, right? So, a recent analysis, another article, by the way, covering more than 1,000 categories, found that brands were substantially more likely to be both cited and actually named when the category was closely related to areas where the brand already demonstrated authority. In in close topical categories, the study found 74% citation appearance and 44% named brand appearance and 34% getting both. Performance weakened as categories became more distant. So the authors explicitly note, by the way, that these are associations, they're not proof that content expansion causes the outcomes. So what does all that mean, right? Did everybody get their eyes glossed over, or did I lose half of you? In plain English, being known for something appears to make it easier to be recognized for closely related things. So, auto care example, hey, you want to get your tires rotated or installed. Let's say, yeah, okay. You want to get your tires rotated. Cool, awesome. Also, we do installations. Okay, cool. That's closely related, right? So that's what it is. So this is exactly the random It's not. This is exactly why random content, by the way, is freaking weak. You cannot do that shit. Like if one week you publish, like I don't know, I'm going to use us as an example. If one week I publish like SEO, then cybersecurity, then accounting advice, then productivity, then generic AI news, what exactly am I establishing my expertise around? I am definitely more inclined to talk about SEO. I might dabble a little bit into cybersecurity, but only because it's in relation to keeping your website secure, right? And I'm definitely not going to dabble into generic AI news. I mean, I don't. I mean, I don't really care much about the generative AI and stuff like that as much. So, look, this is why weekly topic clusters actually matter. By the way, now, um, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. So, for example, let's say the website, as we know, is a single source of truth, right? So, let's say that you need to support it with a few things. One, your website needs clarity, right? Sure. It needs schema, all right? So don't worry, web SEO hasn't gone anywhere. It's just more important than ever now. It adds to the single source of truth idea, right? The content of your website is one thing, like I said, and then of course the schema, the web SEO is part of it too. Your listings needs consistency, so that has to be very much in line with everything that's on your website. And your reviews also need to support the services that you talk about on your website and are on your listings. So the reviews need to talk about those services. They need to be like, they did this well. And then, of course, that leads to AI verification. So that means you are now creating repeated evidence around one area of knowledge. So authority is not saying everything. My point, you can't generate authority by just saying everything. You have to be repeatedly useful about the things you actually know. So here's a problem then, in the next segment we're going to talk about, where you can see that SMB or small and medium business owners will increasingly face. This is an issue they will all face. How do we know whether any of this is actually working? The traditional reporting you typically see from an agency is rankings, organic traffic, clicks, and conversions. However, AI is influencing decisions way before a visitor ever even arrives on the website where you can track them, right? Or even before that, right? Your listings and stuff like that. And Search Engine Land recently had a interesting proposed layered measurement model that looks across certain things that are interesting, like access, visibility, demand, referrals, pipeline, and revenue, rather than relying on referral traffic alone. Think about that. Instead of just looking at referral traffic alone, you need to look at the whole process that you have now in your business. Well, that's a whole lot. I don't know if a lot of people are going to do it, but I think what we can do is to identify each of these things and kind of get an idea of what we should do instead. So, what does access mean? Well, can these systems actually find and read your information? Okay. And visibility is, are you being mentioned or cited? Be that in AI visibility or be that uh, around the internet. Okay. People saying things on Reddit or something, local, like on social media, stuff like that. Okay. Demand. Yeah, that is pretty simple, right? Are more people beginning to search for your business by name? Absolutely fantastic if that's happening. Referral means that are people arriving from AI systems to you? Okay. Website, right? And then, of course, the outcome itself, right? That's the definition we need to define too. Are those interactions eventually creating real leads and revenue? So, I guess what I'm saying is a click is really easy to measure, right? But influence is a hell of a lot harder to measure. It's not impossible. It just requires more effort, right? So what's going to matter increasingly is that customers may do something very different than what you're probably used to them doing, which is ask an AI assistant, learn your company name, Google you 2 days later, read some reviews when they have a chance, eventually visit your website, and then they'll call. The AI influenced the lead. Analytics may credit Google for that. However, did Google deserve that? Because if the lead started with ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini, sure, that'd be Google, but ChatGPT is not, right? Claude is not. It would be very difficult for you to say then that Google is the one that did that. A recent analysis of There's another article. A recent analysis of more than 50,000 tracked AI overview events reported that about 22.4% were misattributed as direct traffic rather than organic in the data set studied. That doesn't mean every business has the same attribution problem, but it's a useful reminder that even our measurement systems are still catching up. And I too have noticed this in some of our clients' data. If you've forgotten, we are actually a full blown agency that can handle all the wonderful things that digital presence is required to have. And of course, we measure all of our clients' websites, right? We make the websites, but we also measure and keep track of everything that's happening with them. And we have seen a much bigger uptick of what is called direct traffic. And usually that just means people are going directly to your website because they know the URL. Okay? They're not going through a buffer like a search engine, and they may not, and necessarily AIs themselves. And you can in fact see how AI is coming to you. You know, if you have it set up correctly to a certain extent. Okay, but I'm sliding from away from the point. The point is that you can in fact, or actually, I have in fact seen less people showing up from search traffic, uh, which would be attributed to like Google and Bing and stuff like that, and it's marked as such in the actual report. And I've seen more happen in direct traffic, which leads me to believe that I'm seeing exactly the things that they're discussing, and that just means that our what we do, honestly, is actually working. Just another validation that what we're doing is working for our clients in AI visibility being discovered. So take that. No, it's good news because I'll take any validation I can find that we're doing the right things in this Wild West period of artificial intelligence, discovering new things that on a daily basis, weekly, really, just absolutely new things coming out all the time. So here's another interesting recent data point too I wanted to point out because this will take us to another segment that I wanted to talk about, which is community reputation is becoming machine readable. Get this part. This is cradle. This is crazy. Cradle. Crazy. A search engine land analysis of 35,000 ChatGPT citations in SaaS-related prompts, so software as a service, for those that don't know, found community and user-generated content platforms held more cited domains shared than review sites and publishers combined across the buyer journey. This is SaaS-specific research, so don't apply the exact numbers universally to local businesses, but the principle is important. AI isn't the only, this is me, AI isn't the only reading what companies say about themselves. And I would hope not, right? You do remember there are people out there that are looking for you or things that you do. Now, or should I say, AI isn't only reading it too, by the way. So AI isn't only reading what companies say about themselves. It can discover customer discussions, reviews, Reddit threads, videos, community conversations, expert opinions, really important, and third party mentions, aka people who are just like, hey, these guys are great, to work with them. And for small and medium businesses, I think what we can very, very simply cite are things that you're familiar with: chamber mentions, local organizations, industry associations, local news, customer reviews, partner websites, community groups, and social discussion. Does that sound like a mediocre thing that I just said? That's a huge amount of networking opportunities. Your reputation is becoming data. That's the point. That makes authentic community participation more valuable than ever before. Not because you're trying to trick an AI system, by the way. It's just because you are producing real world evidence that your business participates in the world it claims to actually serve. And if you're anybody and who's dealt with task solutions in the past, you know that we talk about all the time doing community associations, going out there and doing stuff with the community because it's the best way for you to actually gain traction in that area and just to get to know people. Referrals too. You'll get actual in-person referrals from that, which is very often what most people who are local business owners only ever get. They only ever get that. They don't even do the digital presence stuff. They get that instead. And that's powerful. But believe it or not, the networking stuff is very much a data point now in AI. So if you're a part of a chamber, great. Go do the chamber things, take photos, do all that stuff that you would normally do, and show it. Don't just go do it. Show it. And not for people. At least not entirely for people. Do it for the AI. Do it for the machines that have the time and energy to actually digest all that information. People don't. They get tired. They don't have the bandwidth to look everything up like that. But guess what does? AI. Now, Google launched. Oh, sorry. We're gonna end up and start wrapping up here real quick. I wanted to mention this is our digital presence update. We're going to rapid fire through some things so you guys are up to date on what the hell is going on in digital presence. Update 1. Google launched another spam update yesterday. Google released its 2026 spam update in August 18th, saying the rollout should take a few days. Don't obsess over predicting every algorithm change is what I say. Keep doing the durable things. Useful content, authentic reviews, real expertise, technically healthy websites. Excellent stuff. Every shortcut eventually becomes somebody else's cleanup project. Remember that. Okay. All right. Next update. AI visibility does not equal traditional Google visibility. Search engine land continues highlighting brands that perform strongly in Google but appear far less often in AI answers. Its August 17th AI visibility index coverage specifically notes that traditional authority and AI recall can diverge. So what the hell does that mean, right? Ranking and recommendation are becoming separate measurements. Okay. Look, both matter, and neither replaces the other, though. That's the important thing. So think about that. Ranking and recommendations are becoming separate measurements. So you can rank high. Doesn't mean that AI is going to be like, yeah, you're good. I love you. You rank high. It doesn't care about that. It cares about what it can prove about you. That's what it cares about. All right. Update number 3. ChatGPT retrieval itself is becoming a field of study. New research covered by Search Engine Land on August 17th examined ChatGPT's retrieval stack, what it finds, what it actually reads, and what ultimately gets cited. So what does that mean? Just because your page exists doesn't mean an AI system retrieves it. And retrieval doesn't guarantee a citation. Basically, it doesn't mean it mentions you. It's just because you have a page. All right. That's why it's super clear that you have clear site architecture. Again, web SEO still matters. That's how you show the architecture of your website, how it's laid out. All right. You need to have crawlable pages, again, website SEO, right? And strong content. And that's where the biggest divergence, in my opinion, is about all this crap, when it comes to the web and AI and all this wonderful stuff. Your on page content is actually important because it actually reads all that stuff. It actually actively reads your content pages. In the past, that did not happen, right? When Google went in and it crawled, it may find some keywords and may read snippets because that's why you make snippets for the pages, right? But for some reason, AI's got the time, man. So it just goes around and goes, yeah, I'm going to read all this stuff. So that's important. And then get this, internal linking, right? Linking in your pages to other pages. That's been a mainstay in SEO for a long time. We knew about that. And core consistent entities. Now, here's the thing. All that stuff still matters, but there are those few changes. So remember that when you're building a site now or when you're updating your own site, actually make content changes on your page. The keywords actually matter a little less now than just being consistent and having accurate information. Okay, I've harped on that enough. Update number 4. Social content is now easier to connect to search demand. Okay, so Google Search Console, right? Platform properties now allow businesses and creators to see how content from Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube perform across Google Search, Discover, and News. Okay, what does that mean? Because this is actually kind of a doozy. That makes that 5-post weekly content strategy even more interesting, right? If you're posting 5 days a week, a social video isn't necessarily gone now after 48 hours like it used to be. Remember we used to say that? So you make a social post, it's gone after 48 hours. I mean, like all the views go down, it's just may as well just go ahead and delete it. I mean, don't do that. But you get my point. Now, you always did have these top huge creators and stuff like that who managed to continue as their audience grew. They had a huge backlog that people could watch, and some people did. It was a percentage. It was like maybe 10, 15%, but they did. So keeping those old videos made sense. But now, like I said, AI has time. I have literally seen. When I do a search on Gemini, which is which is Google's AI search mode, by the way. So I don't know if people are familiar with that or not. And I literally did a search on there, and it was like, okay, I see the overview as we always see, and I was like, oh my god, look, there's actually videos in here now, and that's not the crazy part. Videos have always shown up, kind of, in the past, 5-10 years on Google. What was interesting is it was transcribed. The actual video, like audio, what people were saying was transcribed in full on the overview. Like I could open it up, I could see it. And the person who made the video did not actually have closed captions. They didn't upload their own closed captions. So that only means one thing. AI watched the video and transcribed it on its own and then pulled that data from somewhere. Okay. That's crazy. So basically what I'm saying is a social video now can be fully transcribed and digested by AI, and it can become a social asset like it already is, but a search result too, an authority signal in the future for like somebody just doing a quick search about something, a customer answer, right? A discovery path. So think about it that way. A quick video that you made about, like, say you're a contractor, right? And you do tile, right? And I like this tile because this tile is perfect for these situations. And it's not about the tile itself. It's about the situations, the expertise that you're talking about, right? That someone's just like, I need help I want to replace my kitchen tile. How do I do it? This is what I'm thinking about doing. And then you talking about what the tile in the situations is, that content will probably show up in the search now. Even if it's like a year or two old, 5 years old, who knows, right? If it's still relevant in the AI's mind, guess what? It's going to show up. So that's what's crazy. It could be a discovery path. Maybe that person then clicks on your video, goes to your channel, sees all your updated videos, and now you have somebody who's all of a sudden discovered you without using the normal methods. That is the kind of stuff I've been talking about for the past 2 years. We are in a totally different ballgame now, and people don't even know it yet. So, in closing, this has been a passionate one, I know. I think the current local 5.0, which is that new, for those that are just joining or those who will see this later, that is the newest thing that ChatGPT, Google, all these guys are doing right now. They're focusing on local algorithmic changes, if you will. I mean, just, yeah. It's a really simple way to understand where all this is going. So the old challenge used to be, can somebody find me, right? But now it's becoming this, in my opinion. Can somebody trust me on top of, can a system gather enough accurate evidence to confidently recommend me without me having to do a damn thing in other communication about it? Can I become a trusted source in someone's mind just from the content that I have been making over the course of years? Your business doesn't need to manipulate an AI platform. Okay, that's not what we're talking about here, and we never will do that. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't love AI. I deal with it, right? But it does need to not be gate kept by AI. Don't let AI not let you be seen, okay? Because it will and has been doing that, especially the past year. So you need these things again: clear website, accurate listings, real reviews, useful content, strong community presence, consistent identity, and current information. That's a heck of a lot of crap that you have to deal with nowadays than you had to even just 5 years ago. Okay. Good news is all of those things actually benefit not just AI. When people actually do find you and they do their own research, it benefits them too because it all already exists. So it's a double whammy. I mean, it's a no-brainer, to be honest with you. You just do all the things you need to do to please both, and we're all great. Make your business easy for people to understand. Okay, easy for machines to verify, and easy for both to actually trust. This is Joe Wallace with TAF Solutions, helping you make sense of what's changing so you can keep moving forward. I'll catch you guys in a couple of weeks. Have a great